Hi, we are now going to learn how to name molecular compounds. In the last video we learned about ionic compounds, and they contained a metal and a non-metal. And so in this video we're going to learn about molecular compounds which contain non-metals only. There are no polyatomic ions, and we're going to use prefixes to let us know the number of each type of atom. So here are the prefixes. They may be familiar to you, but you're going to have to learn these. Mono is the prefix for 1, di for 2, tri for 3, tetra for 4, penta for 5, think of a pentagon, hexa 6, hepta 7, octa 8, nona 9, and deca 10. So these prefixes are going to help us tell how many atoms there are. All right, so here are rules for naming molecular compounds. First of all, let's make sure it's not an ionic compound, because if it is, we should not be using these prefixes. So make sure there are no metals or those polyatomic ions. Use prefixes, but we never want to start the name with mono. And we're going to keep that "-ide" ending for the ending. All right, here we go. So for example, N2O5, that is all nonmetals. So we say, ooh, that's molecular. We need to use prefixes. The 2 after the nitrogen shows that there are 2 nitrogens. So we say di-nitrogen. The 5 after the oxygen means that there are 5 oxygens, and the prefix for 5 is penta, so it's pentoxide. Dinitrogen pentoxide. Here we have PCl6. Again, notice there's no metal. Phosphorus and chlorine are both nonmetals. So this would be 1 phosphorus. The 1 is just understood. We don't write the 1 in the formulas. So we don't ever start with mono. So we just say phosphorus. We don't say monophosphorus. We just say phosphorus. Don't start with mono. Phosphorus, there are 6 chlorides. Hexa is the prefix for 6. Phosphorus hexachloride. Now, down here, CO. All nonmetals, molecular compound, use prefixes. 1 carbon, but don't start with mono. 1 oxygen, here is where we use the mono. This one should be familiar to you. Carbon monoxide. Okay, next one is N2O. 2 nitrogens, so it's dinitrogen. 1 oxygen, monoxide. Dinitrogen monoxide. And the final one, again, this one should be familiar to you all. CO2, 1 carbon, but we're not going to say monocarbon. We don't put mono at the beginning. We just say carbon. And 2 oxygens, dioxide. Carbon dioxide. So let's name the following. All right, again, these are all molecular compounds. There are no metals, there are no polyatomic ions. So in our mind, we're saying use prefixes here. Okay, the first one, 1 carbon, 4 chlorines. Carbon, and what's the prefix for 4? Tetra, right, carbon tetrachloride. So let's go ahead and see if I can get this written down. Okay, so this one, 1 carbon, 4 chlorines is going to be carbon tetrachloride. There we go. P2O5, 2 phosphorus, so the prefix is di, phosphorus. 5 oxygens, the prefix for 5 is pent. Pentaoxide, and some people just say pentoxide. All right, SF4, 1 sulfur, so sulfur, and 4 fluorines, tetrafluoride. Okay, never start with mono, use your prefixes, always end in "-ide". That's the rules for molecular compounds. Now, be careful. When we start combining ionic with molecular compounds, you only use these prefixes with molecular compounds. Those are compounds with only nonmetals. All right, see you tomorrow.